you.
Well, hello there, my friends. As per usual, we were not ready for this thing to start going. I was in the middle of cleaning up some mess that one of the dogs had left, and as Jamie was counting us down, and I was trying to wash my foot, she said, "I need a Kleenex." Which there's Kleenex right here.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Anyways.
I was panicking.
And then I noticed that I didn't have the volume of the microphone up, so we crossed paths a lot. But we're here, and Brian's here. Good morning, Brian.
Hi, Brian.
So, I think that Brian says that he thinks feels like we're on early so that Jamie won't be so hungry, and that is actually a really great, I guess, side effect of this. But it's also because we have to take the kids to class. They're doing a summer program, and it's right in the middle of when we do our live. So every other week we gotta take them. But this is the last week, so we'll be back to 12:30 next week. I checked my calendar.
Look at my crazy hair.
It is crazy. What are we gonna do about it? Oh, and Nato would like to say hello. She's probably the one that made the mess. So she's probably
It's P. No
trying-
one stepped on P right
trying
before we
to
started.
apologize. So she's sorry. But we're here, and we wanted to. Aw, Uncle Brian says hi. We wanted to do today's episode on overview videos because that's a lot. That especially for a lot of our nonprofit clients, like that's like one of the first projects we usually have to do for them to help them with, and that's when we first started our business of creating pop. That was like the number one thing that people were having us help them with. And we were just having a conversation with a client last week, and they were telling me how they could, for the last couple years now, they've been wanting to do
Years?
yeah, like 2 years now they've
Oh
wanted
my
to
God.
do an overview video, but it's they're not ready yet because they haven't figured out what they want to put into it, and they just haven't had the time to really think about how to make it intentional and to make it really, if you're going to invest that kind of money into an overview video, you want to make it good and make it worthwhile. And so we thought, there are similar organizations out there that have, same kind of issues, and they don't quite know what to put into an overview video. They don't know why they would need one, maybe, and what the purpose is. So we thought we'd talk today about why you would need an overview video, how you would use it, what it's for, and then what to put into it so that maybe you can get on a fast track of getting an overview video done instead of getting kind of stuck with hurdles preventing you from actually doing it. So with that being said, Jamie, I think the number one question is, why would you need an overview video? What purpose would an overview video have? Oh no, we broke her. Did I talk too long? I thought it was an appropriate amount of things to explain. No?
I'm sorry. I didn't think that's what you were going to ask me.
Oh.
I thought we were going to talk about what goes into it.
Sorry, the dogs now are possibly going to tear the set down.
Oh, no. The cable is in Nato's bed.
Okay.
Now she's okay.
So I was going to ask what goes into it, but I thought I'd at least start with what... Oh, it is Jill. We were saying that Brian and Jill would be here. And we were correct. Hi, Jill. Good morning. No, but I thought before we talk about what goes into a overview video, we should find out why they should have one in the first place. Because some might just be like, well, what's the purpose of it, right? So
people usually want to put an overview video on the homepage of their website, like at the top or a little bit down.
Let's let you take some more swigs of your coffee first. I'm falling asleep just listening to you. This is how it sounds like when she's either really tired or really drunk, and you can't tell which one it is because all you see is a silver cup in her hand. But it is 10:30 in the morning, so
I didn't start drinking this early enough, and it went from too hot to too cold, and now I'm not having a good day.
would you like to try here? Sorry, allow us to digress a little bit. I know you're here to find out about
What are
overview
you
videos,
doing?
but I think you guys will like this.
He just left me here.
I almost stepped in the pee again. Okay, so this in this cup is The Rock's new healthy energy drink, Zoa Energy. This is his wild berry flavor, and it's the zero sugar one. So I've been drinking it, and it's great, tastes good, and it also helps me with energy and stuff. I added a little bit of red grape juice to it, so it has.
You get red grape juice and white grape juice?
Yes. In this household, we don't see color. All we see is juice. so try this.
No, I can't. It's going to trigger my
Oh,
insulin
that's
response.
right. Ah, shucks. Okay. I forgot. I thought she'd stopped drinking energy drinks because it really used to mess her up. But I think it was because they were so high. There's such high content of sugar.
That's not true.
The white monsters you were okay with.
I didn't stop because of that. I stopped because I started drinking coffee.
But I thought that you wouldn't drink energy drinks anymore because it was also.
I just didn't like the taste of the no sugar ones.
Oh.
Because it has that like no sugar taste, and then the sugar ones were I felt bad about myself for drinking them.
We're going real deep into the recesses of her soul. Brian says that energy drinks, except coffee, give him anxiety.
Oh my
But-
god.
But I can see that too, especially those like super high sugar ones and stuff. But this one, the Zoa one, I like. There's also been like I've had like these super like healthy, natural, like all natural like no artificial stuff, and it's more built on like green teas and stuff. And those were really good, but a lot of them had coconut water in it as the ingredient, and that makes me sick. So I don't know. I'm sure coffee works great for you, Brian, but if you ever want to just give this one a try, the sugar-free Zoa ones seem to be pretty good for me, and they don't get me all like freaked out and stuff. So maybe and don't tank it like how you're talking about shooting your coffee really fast. But
I'm not good at shooting anything. I'm really bad at it.
yeah, even like when it's like something that she's like healthy food, and we're just like just eat it real fast so that you can get rid of it. And she's like, she'll close her eyes, pinch her nose, and like make me shovel it in her mouth. like that will make it taste better or something. I don't understand that, but I gladly shovel it in her mouth just so that she has the healthy stuff. Jill says green tea works for her. So yeah, green tea could be really good too. I just don't like the taste of tea.
Neither of us likes the tea taste.
Yeah. Okay. Well, now that we got that out of the way, maybe she's woken up a little bit.
You answer the question. I don't know.
So the problem is every time I talk, she goes, "Oh, you talk so much. Now I don't want to talk anymore." So then she said, "Ask me questions." So then I get
But
involved.
it's not a question that I want to answer. So just answer.
Oh. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what early morning Jamie without coffee is like. You all wondered, you're like, oh, she's such a sweet person. Like, I can't imagine her being anything but sweet. Here it is. The veil has been lifted. Okay, so the reason why you want to have a good overview video, the purpose is to help communicate to new audiences or people that don't know you as well to what your organization is about, who or what you affect, and essentially get to know the heart of your mission and such. So a great place to have that on is your website, because most people don't necessarily like show up to your place of your office and go like, hey, organization, I'd like to learn more about you. They would actually go to your website. And when they go to your website, before you traditionally just have like a lot of text, and you'd like write about, here at our organization, we help people do this, 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 this. We have this program and all yada, yada, yada. But a lot of us don't have patience or time to read a lot of stuff. And it's hard to get the emotions through text. Some can be pretty effective, but for the most part, video is the most effective in getting emotions, people to feel emotions. And when you're dealing with a nonprofit, the way you can get people hooked to you is through attaching to their emotions, where they emotionally feel like connected to you and all that stuff. That's the key to getting someone to support you or to jump on board with you. So video is super effective in that, where when they go to your website, you have this video up, runs for several minutes, and they get to see, hear, and feel all that your organization is about. That's why an overview video is super important. Now, what I think we'll get into right now is sometimes people make the mistake of using an overview video as an opportunity to just give a laundry list of all the different departments and programs and things that your program offers or your organization has to offer. And there's a reason why we feel like that's not the ideal place to do that. What would you say to that for those who think that an overview video is just like kind of like a recap of all of the things your organization does?
I think people don't see it as like part of a whole. Like the video is part of your website as a whole, but you're not trying to replace your website with the video. Like, I don't know why people think that that's what it's for.
So to me, my theory on that is that people must think, oh, no one likes to read anymore. So
they're just replacing it with a video.
Yeah. So like, we know we have a website, but who really goes on there? Do they really, do they really read anything? Oh, people rather watch video now. No one likes to read. So let's put it on the video. So when they go to your website, they get all the information and we're good. Which is not necessarily true. I mean, yes, people don't want to read as much, but they're willing to read if it's relevant and they know it's worth their while.
I think that would be for like a follow-up video. So overview video to me is like the entry door into your org, into your website. And the thing that I learned from my boss before is that the first thing that you have to do is make people care, and then you can tell them anything because then they care, so then they'll give you their attention and time to pay attention. To pay attention. Time. What? So
they will take time to give you their attention.
Okay, whatever. So yeah, you got to make them care first. So the overview video is your opportunity to get them to care about what you do.
So with that being said, how do you get them to care? Because I had just explained like a common mistake organizations make is that they'll take the opportunity in their overview video just to list all of the different things they do. Why do you feel like that doesn't solve the issue of making someone care about their organization?
Because it's too much information, and people don't want to take like if that's like going into a lecture at school and oh, my brain's really not working.
I couldn't tell. Brian says he likes loopy Jamie, by the way.
I think a lot of organizations think that the overview video is to tell everything that they want everybody to know all of the things that they do. But I think the best thing that you can do with an overview video is to get them to care about you on the whole, like get them to buy into the heart of what you do. And then the next thing you do is start telling them the different things that you do. But if they don't care about you, they're just going to go back to Facebook.
Yeah. And I think it's kind of similar to like when you're trying to buy a car, like when you're looking at a car, you don't necessarily want to hear like all the technical details of the car.
You want to know what color it is.
Color, like how it looks and feels and all that stuff. And if the brand is something that you want to rock, like
I want to rock a Honda.
Yeah. Versus maybe a Ford, right? Like, I don't know.
I think you're going too far with this car thing. Hi,
Anyways,
Carol.
Hey, Carol. Thank you for your what is this? Words of
support.
Anyways, now she's rubbing off on me. Anyways,
no.
The point of that is, like for instance, if you're meeting somebody for the first time, I don't say, "Hi, my name's Nolan. I do this, 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 and this, and my favorite thing is this." Like, then she would just turn off. Shoot. So same thing with your video. That is your organization's first introduction to someone. So it would be so much more effective if you could grasp them emotionally first. And that's why we always focus on kind of the effects of what the organization does through a testimony or a story, because then people are sucked into like the feeling, and then they are curious, well, how did you do that? Like, what does your organization do to have gotten this kind of testimony from this person, or to create this kind of story that happened? So a lot of the times when we make an overview video, it starts out with kind of a story, or I don't know.
Did I catch on you?
Well, I mean, am I going on the right direction here? Because as far as I
think my brain just started thinking, like, is an overview video like an elevator pitch? And then I was not paying attention to what you were saying.
So most people think that the men are the ones that don't listen, but this right
you
here,
don't listen to me way more than I don't listen to you.
But still, women are not exempt from this.
Let's not be sexist. I'm talking about you specifically.
I represent all of male genre. No, I'm just kidding.
Genre.
But yeah, so even with that, saying that an overview video is an elevator pitch, that's the problem. Is even people who do elevator pitches, even like great companies, like corporate companies, they're doing elevator pitches wrong too. Brian says that he wasn't listening, and mostly males. And Jill says she feels like multi-level marketing people need to balance this. So this is great. This is another great example. If you're on social media and you have that friend who is involved in multi-level marketing, their feeds is just nonstop about their products and stuff, and you don't have any connection to them personally anymore. And so now whatever they pitch doesn't have relevance to you. So same thing for nonprofits. Like if you can get on a personal connection with them first, and so since we're talking about overview videos, having making that personal connection first, making them care, as she said, will then allow you the opportunity to tell them something that you want to tell them. But initially, you need to tell them what you think they want to know, right?
So I'm just stuck on this elevator pitch thing.
Go for it.
So
you're stuck, period.
I kind of am. I just ran out of coffee. It's all, well, there's still some in. So the story brand method of doing the elevator pitch is picking one problem that you solve and then how you solve it. and then how it changes your client's life. So that's kind of, I mean, that's kind of what, because you're not telling everything, you're just finding like one story that had a problem, and then their transformation with your organization, and then happy ending.
So what an example of this, and I may fail at this because it is early, but I'm going to try my best.
It's not even early. It's so funny. It's like we're acting like it's like
That's
6
right.
o'clock in the morning.
Well, maybe people in Japan are watching this, and it's early for them.
I went to sleep at 2.
So that's why it's early for her. And then I am easily influenced by her aura. So I was doing well. I did a podcast earlier, and I was fine then. But now I'm just like,
I know.
anyways, so an example of what she's talking about is stating the problem. So for a lot of nonprofit organizations, they have a difficult time being able to communicate with their supporters on how they affect the community. So
We're such failures today.
So what we have done is we've created different multimedia platforms, products or platforms to help them communicate using websites and social media and video to effectively communicate. The elevator, the sample of a
elevator pitch?
Yeah.
For who? What are you talking about?
You had given them an example of what the story brand style of pitch is.
Oh,
and I was trying to give an example of how it would sound.
Oh.
But that just went out the window. So, anyways, it was struggling anyway, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But I mean, so when we created this style of pitch, like it took us like a day of writing and rewriting and all that stuff. But the idea was once you create it, you have it become part of your.
Right, get off the elevator pitch thing. I'm sorry.
Okay.
That was bad.
So the point of this is for the overview video is sometimes organizations get stuck with, okay, we have to list all of the different programs that we have and all the statistics and things like that, which then don't give the audience member a chance to care, right? Because there's just like
boring.
Yeah. So what, aside from that, what other are there any other mistakes that we've seen done in making an overview video?
I think that's the major one I can think of. Just trying to get too much in there.
Oh, I know another one. So sometimes a roadblock for organizations is like, oh, we gotta have X, Y, Z, 1, 2, 3, like so many different people featured in the video, and it's like, ooh, that just to give you an understanding for an audience, a person in the audience to be overwhelmed with so many different people, like you gotta get them to be introduced to that person talking, then like them, and all, like it's just adding so many people to the video will extend the video length, but also could create confusion, right? So a lot of times they'll say, oh, we have to include this person because they are of this position in the organization, and that instead of it being those are the reasons why, it should be who can best communicate this message that we're trying to connect with the audience on.
So how do you pick the thing that you want to talk about?
Exactly. Oh, you don't know the answer?
Oh, you want me to talk about it?
Yeah, because I've been talking a lot, and I'm ready for you to say blah blah blah. You're making me tired, so I'm just trying to jump off of this as quickly as I can.
So I think you should start with thinking about what is the thing that connects with people the most when you talk to them about what you do. Like when you talk to people who have no stake in the game, about what your organization does? What is it that is like, oh, okay, now I get what you guys do, and what makes them, because there's going to be probably like maybe one aspect of your organization that a lot of people understand. Am I going off?
So here's an example that hopefully maybe it'll help. Is that I'm going to use something so generic, or not generic, but non-specific, that or not non-specific, something so far off that it won't relate to anybody that we know. So let's say that our organization is that we do bunny rescue. Okay, like we rescue bunnies. But if someone were to say, "Oh, so what do you guys do?" I'm like, "Oh, we have a bunny rescue organization, and we save bunnies, and we have a vehicle that picks up bunnies. We have staff that researches bunnies." Like all these statistics are things that we do. But instead, if we started off with, there's a lot of bunnies out in the community that go lost, and families are really sad, and the kids are just like heartbroken that they can't find their bunnies, because bunnies are really easy. They're like escape artists, and they're really easy to get lost. So what we've been doing is we've created an organization that is built around using our resources and expertise to be able to retrieve bunnies and return them to their homes, so that the kids are happy and families are reunited again. Something like that, where it's like, okay, that makes it seem more like cool than just me explaining all of the different things that we do for bunnies. Instead, we established what the heart-wrenching or heartwarming story is behind the why, I guess. Right? Okay. She's not on board.
I don't know. That example is too weird. Like, what are all the things that the bunny organization does that is not included in what you just said?
But I'm just saying there's a difference between stating from the beginning what they do versus, what the problem was, and the sad story. Like, you can imagine the
It's hard to talk about this without like having a specific thing that you're talking about.
Okay.
But I mean, we can't do a specific thing, but it's hard.
Okay. Well, this is not helpful at all to anybody. So, okay, let's go on with what you should do then. What would you want to add in creating, or what would you want to do in creating your overview video? You're establishing what's interesting to your audience, what would matter to them, right? So then let's say that the organization figured that out. Okay, this is what we talk to people most about, and they get really excited about when we tell them that this is what we do. Then what?
Find somebody who can tell that story.
So again, you don't have to feel overwhelmed with like we got to get multiple people. It's like, who can tell that story, whether it's a testimonial or someone within the organization. But the key is the people that you do choose, like that they want to open up about that.
Have a good day, Brian.
You're having a blast. We put you to sleep and you're listening. Anyways, thanks, Brian. But yeah, so picking the right people to tell it, because you could say, oh, we need to have the CEO tell it because they're the CEO, they're the face of the company or the organization. But if they don't have that, but if there's somebody else that has a more like deep personal story that could articulate this more effectively, then I'd rather have that person on the video than having the CEO, just because only the fact that it's the CEO. Like, I don't think the viewer cares. Like, oh, this was such a great moving story and this person was so articulate and passionate, but
who's the CEO?
Yeah, why didn't the CEO tell us this? They won't care about that. So yeah, figure out who you would want to have tell that story. And then what else? Okay, well, the focus of this is that what do you want to happen after they watch the video? So that way that can help guide how you make the video and stuff. And the best results that you would want to have from this video, the ultimate would just be like, they go, "Oh, this is amazing. I need to support this organization and, donate money or volunteer time or whatever." But the second best result would be that they go, "I really want to know more about this organization." And that they would go, "Well, I happen to be on their website already, and there's it listed all here, the different programs that they have. I'm going to go and guide or follow this as a guide to the things that I'm interested in." Because let's face it, not everybody's going to be interested in every single aspect of your organization. They might be drawn and connected to like one specific leg of your organization. So by doing this and then giving them the option of being able to specifically learn about that versus have them sit through the elevator speech of everything when all they care about is this one section, now they can go, okay, I like these guys, I trust them. Oh, and this is the program that I was really interested in. Click, and then boom, that's where you could have either a write-up or a specific video about that program. But that's what the point of the overview video is to guide them to the next step. It's not the be-all, end-all, one stop. It's once they see it, it's done.
Not trying to cram everything in there.
Yeah, you're just trying to compel them to do something next, whether it's take action in supporting and donating or take action in learning more about your organization.
I think it's still good to have the CEO or ED in there as like the person giving the general broad, like what your organization exists for, and then have somebody else. If that person can't tell the specific story, then have somebody else telling the success story, hopefully, or telling the story about the specific impact that the organization has, and then have the ED come back on to like make it broad again.
Mm-hmm.
But you need somebody in there who can make it a compelling, heartfelt story.
Yeah.
And usually, I think the ED is probably not going to know the specifics deep that well.
It just depends on
the
structure of your organization. Yeah. And a lot of the times people say like, well, we can't necessarily, privacy laws and whatnot, we can't have the people that we help, they're not able to come on and tell their story, which is fine. That tends to be often the case. But someone within your organization that worked with that family or individual, that firsthand experience with that story, that could retell that story and their personal experience with dealing with that situation, that could be the way that you do it.
And that might be better because a lot of times when somebody is in the situation or just recently out of the situation, it's hard for them to talk about because they don't have distance from their experience. So the staff person or your person on your team is probably going to be able to talk about it better.
Yeah, from a perspective of like the grand scheme of it all, like because we've actually had experiences with that where an organization had us interview somebody and they're like, oh, that's such an amazing story, and you gotta hear from them about what the program did for them, and they just rave about their experience. And so, but the problem is they were still in the program and still going through it. So while they made great strides, they weren't looking at it as like, oh, I'm good now, life is better. Like they're still in it. So when we were interviewing them, it was just like, well, they don't, it's almost like, I don't want to jinx it. So they weren't saying like, oh, things were great or this is what I experienced. It's like, well, we're trying our best and hopefully things work out kind of thing. It's like, oh, this isn't very emotional at all, So, those are some really good things to think about. Anything else that, as far as putting into an overview video?
This is, I don't want to be like mean or, I think people really love beautiful footage, and rightly so because it's beautiful. But I feel like that shouldn't be the top priority. I think the top priority should be the storytelling and getting across the emotional connection, and the beautiful footage can support that. But if the beauty of your footage is the first priority, you're probably not going to achieve the emotional part.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. And there's another thing that I was going to bring up too. Oh, people will probably ask about like, well, what's the ideal length of an overview video? We get that question for all videos, but especially for overview videos. And it just depends. We always say like, let the content be the judge of how long it is, because people will always say, oh, people nowadays don't have they have such short attention spans. So our overview video has to be like 1 to 2 minutes. And so sometimes you can't get through that capturing story in 1 to 2 minutes. We need to have the time to let build and create that strong connection for the viewer. So we always say, you don't want your overview video to be super long or super short. Like, you don't want your overview video to be like 30 seconds, but you also don't want them to be like 10, 15 minutes. Anytime I see a video that's 10 or 15 minutes long, I probably won't watch it. But if it's anywhere in between like 1 to probably 8 minutes is maybe my max, but that's a pretty huge range of time. So you don't have to say stuff like, oh, I gotta be under 2 minutes. Make it about, well, what do we have here that we're working with? What is the most important story, and how do we effectively tell it in this video? And then whatever it comes out to be, that's how long it is. That should be how you determine that. Jill asks, how often should you change the overview video? So that's the hard part, because you don't, for a lot of these organizations, it's a pretty expensive investment to produce an overview video. So you don't want to just, shell out a bunch of money and change it super often. But at the same time, you also don't want it to be outdated and for people to be like, oh, this organization's like old and stuff. So I would say, like, especially if there's things that are in the video that can look dated, as far as, if it's things in your organization that you no longer provide or that you've changed or improved on. Anytime you'd have to say, oh, watch this video on our website to learn more about us, but there's some stuff in there that, we no longer offer this, and this, but you'll get an idea for our organization. Like, then that's time to change it out. But I don't know. I think it also depends too on the nature of your organization. But I would think that you should at least get a year out of an overview video. Right?
I think these are probably more evergreen than, because the focus is on the story. So I think you could keep it for as long as the story is relevant to what you do.
But I guess the only reason why you would change it is if you have visitors who are coming multiple times.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, oh, I've seen this already, but they're not quite sold or connected to you yet. So refreshing the overview video could bring a renewed sense of connection.
Yeah. And
things like that. So, yeah, I wouldn't say that there's like a hard, like every 2 years or every year you should change it. I think it's more about how your organization is evolving. If the video is not evergreen and it starts to have inaccurate stuff, or if it is evergreen, then get the sense of your audience, if they are the type that need to be renewed and refreshed in their commitment or connection to you.
I think a lot of orgs, though, probably don't have money for that, to do it like every year.
Yeah, so I'm not saying that they should do it every year, but
I wonder if you could also, like, if you have it, if you're telling a story, like one story in your overview video, even if you replace your actual top of the page overview video, you could maybe like when you get that first video done, also have them package it as a standalone story. So not with the ED telling the overview of the mission and all of that stuff, but just having it tell that one story, and then that could go on another part of your website so that you're not wasting that money.
Yeah. There's all kinds of creative ways that you can really stretch out the value of the production of your video, because even in the recording of the video, you can have bits and pieces that could be used for other smaller videos and stuff too, other featurette videos. But I know that's a pretty huge non-answer for you, Jill, of how often you should change it. But I guess the short answer is that depends. But a lot of the times, the organizations that we've worked with that wanted to update their overview video was because a lot of the staff had changed over.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like, oh, if you ever do come to our organization and it's like, oh, where did all those guys go? or people know that person that's in your video, like, oh, they're not with this organization anymore. That could make it could help it lose its relevance. And so that would be reason to change it out. Things like that. Anything else that you think should go into an overview video that we've seen that could help those who are kind of stuck in that place of not being able to make a overview video?
I think just think about the goal and the trying to get people to care instead of trying to tell people everything that you want them to know.
That is the best advice. Really try to understand and feel that, because that will help guide you with how you decide to make your video. Because I think in general, not just in videos, but in other aspects of nonprofit organizations, they run into that mistake of wanting to just communicate all that they want to say without thinking about what their target audience would want to hear. And it should be the other way around. Make sure you know what your target audience wants to hear so that you can, connect with them on that first. And then once you have them, then you can tell them what you want to say. But don't tell them too much, like those multi-level marketers, because then it's overkill. And then you're inviting your friends over for coffee and that you haven't seen for a long time, like Jill.
I know.
And then you bombard them with all kinds of sales pitches. Don't be a multi-level marketing nonprofit organization. Really get to understand what your followers and audience care about and want to know, and focus that way. All right, I think we're gonna go ahead and take a nap or something, or get Jamie another cup of coffee.
I need a new one.
But if you guys are still with us, which at least Jill is, masks in videos or no masks? Oh, good question. Hard to stay relevant in these times. So, what we've seen is if you're able to... Oh, and Carol's here too. See, this thing on here is very deceiving.
Yeah.
It says that there's one viewer, yet we're getting comments from multiple people. So we know there's more than one. Anyways, if you're in a position to film without masks, and that's accurate to how things are going, that it's still within the safety protocols. We've had it where they don't wear masks, but if that's not accurate to how you're running your operations or your programs, you want to keep the mask on, just because people in the community will judge you and be like, hey, how come you're not following safety protocols? Or they might assume that this is old footage pre-pandemic, and then they'll think that this isn't relevant. So, it's...
I think it's just it's better to just follow what the guidelines are currently. Like if it's a lot of people in a room, then masks on. And then I think we're going to have leeway as far as like a couple years where people will understand that if there's masks in your footage, they're just like that, they'll understand that it was shot during COVID times. And I think you're not like, maybe the lifespan of your video wouldn't be like you can't keep using it for like 10 years, but I think it's still better to, so that people aren't like, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah. I think when it comes to like interviews and testimonials, because the person you're interviewing traditionally is by themselves, they can be unmasked. Almost every single interview we've shot, they've been unmasked, with the exception of one where they felt more comfortable keeping their mask on, or two. And that was fine. But personal preference, I think viewers would like to be able to see the face of the person who's talking, and the mask kind of makes it a little more impersonal. So if the interviewee is comfortable with it, then first preference is always to have the interview done without a mask. And the way we recorded stuff, it's, distanced, we're all masked and all that stuff. So I think people, the viewers who might be judging on like, hey, are they following safety protocols? I mean, when you just see one person on camera, I think they're more forgiving and believing that we're producing it in a way that's safe, hopefully. I haven't heard anything otherwise.
I think it's just the B-roll where you gotta be careful about following what the guidelines are.
Yeah. So we've had stuff where we're shooting and we would remind them like, oh, there's somebody in this group that's not wearing their mask properly. Like, have them pull it up, just because if you catch them in there not doing it properly, and as you're editing, the organization doesn't want to be shown as irresponsible or not following, they'll say, oh, can you cut that footage out of there? Then it's like, oh, we wasted a really great shot just because one or two people weren't doing it right. So makes sense to keep everyone consistent and following what the safety protocols are for that time. Carol is being so supportive. She not only supported us, but she's supporting Jill, saying, great question. This is what I've been wondering when shooting stills for a nonprofit. So yeah, I hope that helps answer your question, Jill and Carol, that helps you a little bit. Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Throw them in the comment section. If you're watching this on demand, you can still throw in comments and questions in here, and we'll answer them in the chat. Or you could email us at info.
So far away.
I think the kids are fighting.
I don't even see the mouse.
I don't know. Maybe it died. Oh, there it is.
There it
is. You can email us at info@popcm.me. So right
so
there.
Unprofessional.
It's such an easy email address. Pop and then CM for creative media and then .me.
I'm just gonna push this button and see if it works.
Okay, go for it.
Oh, it worked!
We are professionals, contrary to what you may think. But next week we're gonna have a special guest, and so we're super excited. We'll be back at our normal time, 12:30 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time, next week, Tuesday. And we're going to be talking with a marketing specialist. She specializes in like online marketing and stuff like that. But I told her, and she's on the mainland, so we get like, has experience dealing with all kinds of, client bases and stuff. But she'll be talking about different ways that nonprofits can market on a budget, like, things that don't cost money and stuff that, nonprofits can use to help market themselves and stuff that are available online. So I think it'll be really useful and pertinent to a lot of you. So I hope you join us. And if you have any questions in advance that you want us to ask, just shoot us that email and we can make sure to cover that, or just join us live and ask us there. But looking forward to that episode. and looking forward to seeing you next week. So on that note, have a great rest of your week. We're going to go and pass out, and we'll see you later. Bye.